as opposed to what happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
By the way, for those who follow the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, we are live on that page if you want to go and hang out with us over there or come out live to Frickers here in Miamisburg. So now here we go. I caught up with the ESPN's Heather Dinich earlier this morning and just point blank, just got right to the point. We could talk about the playoffs. We could talk about all that stuff all you want. But I think right now, because of the opportunity that is presenting itself, we could potentially be talking about Ohio State and Michigan part 2 within, a couple of weeks. So, Brandon, I have it queued up back at the station, but I asked Heather Dinich point blank, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Ohio State and Michigan could potentially be paired up in the 2 versus 3 matchup? Here's what Heather Dinich had to say.
I lean towards TCU at that number 3 spot. But here's the thing, the way the committee views that loss to Michigan, this isn't like Tennessee losing to South Carolina. Michigan owned the second half, but anyone watching that game in the first half had no idea who was going to win that game. And it was to the selection committee's number 2 team. That's important too. So who you lost to, how you lost, all plays into the conversation. It can certainly happen that Ohio State gets that number 3 spot. But as we sit here today, my gut leans towards TCU, but we'll see what they do.
So Kev, as you just heard that there, I mean, your takeaways, like I'm all about 2 versus 3, but as we sit here more and more, TCU, this goes back to my point earlier in the week, punishing teams for playing in their conference championship game. I'm very curious to see what the committee does here as far as, and by the way, I don't think moving TCU back to 4 is punishing them, but you heard what Heather Dinich just had to say regarding that. Like, it is going to be one of those where, they may want to send a message like, hey, Ohio State, you're backdooring in, so that's why you're at 4. TCU, we're not punishing you for losing a conference championship. But I love the unknown. I love that we don't know. That's what makes this so exciting as we head into this. We want Ohio State, Michigan. Right. It makes sense for Ohio State, Michigan, but it also makes sense for TCU, for the committee to say, you know what? We're going to keep you at 3. Ohio State, if you want Michigan, you're going to have to beat Georgia to get to them in the national championship.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am. Of course, I want to play that team up north in a rematch. I want it to be 2-3 off the bat, to guarantee that we play and redeem ourselves. But the reality is, in my opinion, that TCU's loss in the Big 12 championship game was by 3 points. And Ohio State lost in the second half to that team up north. And I think there is a cap for Ohio State to rise, because if you look at all the analytics that they provide and the strength of schedule and the number of top 25 opponents beaten, TCU has Ohio State and Alabama by a landslide. So I just, taking my Buckeye hat off, it would be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State. And for that matter, I mean, if USC would have won on Friday and TCU lost on Saturday, I could see those teams flip-flopping. But I think that TCU is perfectly safe making it into the college football playoff. But I will say this. The last time TCU was in this position, they won their last game by 50 points, and they dropped 3 spots. They dropped from 3 to 6. And as a fan of college football, I wasn't a fan of that, but a fan of Ohio State, it is what it is. So I would imagine that TCU still stays at number 3 and Ohio State sneaks in at number 4, and then we play the defending champs, and then we see what happens from there.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you live here at Frickers here in Miamisburg. Earlier today, I was able to catch up with ESPN's Heather Dinich. Some of you caught that hanging out with us on the feed, but a lot of interesting questions. I asked her very, point blank about, the idea, the theory I had earlier in the week that, teams should start, again, with the 14 playoff changing to 12 in 2 years. We're going to have one more year of this, and it's not going to matter. But if I'm TCU, now looking back, TCU, USC, opt out of them damn conference championship games. I know they're important, and, I know they're important, but you got what's more important, the playoff or that? If USC and TCU publicly went out and said, we want to win a conference championship, but we've earned the right to be in the playoff, and we feel all we're doing is risking being bumped out of the playoff for 2 teams who aren't even playing this weekend, we respectfully are requesting an opt-out of the conference championship game. I would have put the public pressure on the committee. Then if the committee or the Big 12 or the Pac-12 says, no, you got to play, then they go and play it, but they at least made their case so that, that there's a lot of public perception with it. Heather had a lot of interesting things to say about that, and Coach Coach Dykes for the TCU had a lot to say about that. He believes it's very wrong to be punished for playing in a conference championship game, so we shall see. All right, real quick, because at the top of the hour, we're going to find out the top 4. Here's our conversation with ESPN's Heather Dinich from earlier today. Again, caught up with her to ask her about the chances of Ohio State against Michigan, a rematch in the college football playoff. Is Georgia and Michigan basically a lock at 1 and 2? I think that they are. But what about Alabama? Because Nick Saban's been doing a lot of campaigning. The other thing I asked her, Kev, was how much of an impact does that have? It was a great interview at halftime. I thought it was really cool at the Big Ten championship game last night to see Urban Meyer interviewing Nick Saban. I just thought that, I don't know why I thought that was so unique. I just thought it was really cool. It was a cool visual. But Nick Saban, he had a picture of his grandkids behind him. On the other shoulder, he had a picture of him golfing with Tiger Woods. I mean, I love Nick Saban. I'm sorry. I think he does it better than anyone else, and it's because of those things.
He does it just for people like you.
But does it work? I asked Heather Dinich, does that have an impact on the committee? Of course it
works.
Her take is pretty interesting as well. Here's our conversation with Heather Dinich from earlier today. ESPN's Heather Dinich. Heather, good morning. Welcome. We appreciate your time today.
Good morning. Of course. Thank you for having me on.
So there's a lot of crazy scenarios happening. This is what I love about the 14 playoff is the chaos. And although there's not as much chaos as what I was anticipating, there's still a lot of uncertainty about the potential matchups we could see early on. We're an ESPN affiliate here in Dayton. We're also an Ohio State Buckeye affiliate here in Dayton. So we're all anxious. I think it's safe to say Ohio State is in, correct, Heather?
I think that's fair. And the reason is because that 5th ranking on this past Tuesday was so important because the selection committee had Ohio State at 5 ahead of Alabama. Their resumes clearly aren't going to change. The one thing that I'm 100% sure of is that Ohio State has the edge over Alabama and will maintain that edge. And when USC lost to Utah on Friday night in the Pac-12 championship game, that was exactly what the Buckeyes needed. And now I think the conversation turns to, can they jump TCU? Does the selection committee give any credence to Alabama getting in with Ohio State at the expense of TCU? I think that's highly unlikely, but I think the Buckeyes should be feeling pretty good about their chances.
TCU at 3, and obviously, they lose a close one in overtime. But, it's interesting, though, because we put up this barrier around TCU now. We say, well, they lost by 3, but it was in their conference championship game. But if Ohio State or Michigan or anyone else would have lost to a 3 or 4 loss team, we would be, a little critical, right? We'd be saying, hey, that should take a hit against, the eye test or against the resume. Is the fact that because they lost, regardless of the opponent, because it is the conference championship game, is that why TCU is being viewed as still pretty safe in this scenario? And do you see them staying at 3, or, should they drop back? I mean, it is unreal. It is kind of crazy to think about a team getting a loss, even if it isn't a conference championship game, and then not even moving a bit. Your thoughts on that scenario there?
Well, the points that you are presenting in that question are exactly what they will be talking about in that selection committee meeting room. But I think it's less about them playing in the conference championship game and more about the fact the team they lost to is the committee's number 10 team. Regardless of if K-State has 3 losses, the selection committee thinks they're one of the 10 best teams in the country. And so to lose in overtime by a field goal to a team they beat during the regular season factors into that conversation. Because even though TCU lost that game, for the Frogs to be able to sit there and say, hey, we have a regular season win against the Big 12 champs, that win is better than any win Ohio State and Alabama have on their resume. Because you could argue that Ohio State's best win is against Penn State. The selection committee loves their win against Notre Dame in the season opener. I was there for that game. But at the end of the day, who did you beat in the CFP's top 25? I have a feeling that they could value the win against K-State more than Ohio State's win against Penn State, which would help them justify sticking at that number 3 spot. But you're absolutely right. They could drop. they could drop behind Ohio State. But whether or not they do will not be because of an avoidance of rematches, because the CFP committee does not try to avoid rematches in the semifinals. So it is possible that Ohio State and Michigan could play again.
That was the next question I was kind of leading towards, because I think that's what a lot of Ohio State fans are very anxious about. Look, I think coming into the season, if you talked about an Ohio State-Georgia matchup, we'd be really, really excited. But Ohio State fans a little frustrated, a little upset. They want that rematch opportunity with that team up north. On a scale of 1 to 10, Heather, before we send you out, how likely do you think it is that Ohio State could be at 3 and set up that rematch with Ohio State-Michigan in the semifinals?
Oh, man. I lean towards TCU at that number 3 spot. But here's the thing, the way the committee views that loss to Michigan. This isn't like Tennessee losing to South Carolina. Oh, Michigan owned the second half, but anyone watching that game in the first half had no idea who was going to win that game. And it was to the selection committee's number 2 team. That's important, too. So who you lost to, how you lost, all plays into the conversation. It can certainly happen that Ohio State gets that number 3 spot. But as we sit here today, my gut leans towards TCU, but we'll see what they do.
Last night, Nick Saban going on at halftime of the Big Ten championship game. It's always, it's real entertaining. I love when the coaches kind of campaign for their teams, but how much weight does that have on swaying the committee? Is that just public perception that's really impacting more than anything? How much weight does it, have when coaches go and campaign for their teams? I mean, Nick Saban does it better than anybody of all. I mean, he's the GOAT for a lot of reasons, but I always give him credit. I wish Ryan Day and others did more of this, where they were just more visible and more outspoken about why they believe their team should be in. How much weight does that have, in your opinion, Heather, when coaches are very outspoken and are very visible during these times campaigning for their teams?
It doesn't, quite honestly, impact the selection committee, because as soon as that Big Ten championship game is over, they get up from their seats where they're watching these games together, and they physically move into the next room, and they're not watching SportsCenter, they're not watching the post-game shows, whatever it might be, and all the yapping and talking. The coaches are doing what they're supposed to be doing and advocating for their teams. And Nick Saban certainly got a boatload of airtime on multiple networks to do that for his team. But what's interesting is, if he was the one with 1 loss sitting there, and there was another team on the outside with 2 losses, I highly doubt he would have the same opinion of that 2-loss team as he does.
No doubt. All right, Heather, this is the last thing I'm sending you out with. I got ripped last week for an opinion I had that if I'm TCU and I'm USC, you have more to lose than win playing in a conference championship game. When the last college football playoff rankings came out, the committee already said, you are our top 4. You are our playoff 4. Ohio State can make it without playing in the game. I know these are common criticisms of the 14 playoff in the very beginning, but I mean, I said, hey, if I'm USC, I opt out. If I'm TCU, I opt out. I know they contractually kind of have to play, but I mean, do you hear those talking points a lot where, man, I know conference championships are important, but at the end of the day, the playoffs are more important. It's a weird visual seeing teams almost get punished for playing an extra game. USC out of the playoff now because they played an extra game when, hey, I don't want to play my conference championship game. I'd rather just go right through to the playoffs.
Right. Well, and TCU coach Sonny Dykes said that in his post-game press conference. Exactly that. We shouldn't be punished for playing in our conference championship game. Now, the flip side of that is people who would say, well, if you're one of the 4 best teams in the conference, win it. Right? And in the 12-team playoffs, the 6 highest ranked conference champions will be in the college football playoff. But you are right in that if teams are sitting on their couch with nothing to lose, while other teams are putting it all on the line, and the ones on the couch get in, the optics of that certainly raise questions. But it would not be the first time that we've seen both Ohio State and Alabama get into the college football playoff without winning their divisions. 2016, Ohio State did it. Penn State fans remember that painfully. And Alabama did it in 2017 when they lost in the Iron Bowl to Auburn, and they wound up winning the whole darn thing. So, it's a fair question. But
I guess if I did that, though.
This is the way the system works, my friend. Ambiguous, subjective, and human.
Well, as a Buckeye fan, as you hear in the background, I'm fine with that. I'm actually fine with but I'm a hypocrite because if the roles were reversed, oh man, I'd be screaming from the mountaintop that something has to change. So, Heather, you are the absolute best. Thank you so much for taking time for us here this morning. For our fans listening right now, where can fans find you next? What's your next stop? I'm sure you're going to be all over Sports Center. What's your next hit that people could find you at here this morning?
Yep, I'm on Twitter at CFB Heather, and I will be on our ranking reaction show right after the ranking, and then I'll be joining Reese and the guys at some point in the show later.
Yeah, you think, because you have no sleep right now, and you're just being tugged in every direction. So there you go. Heather, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yep, take care.
All right, so that was Heather Dinich from earlier today. A lot to unpack there, but, again, wanted to get into – so real quick on the Nick Saban thing. So someone in the comment section – again, we're live on Facebook, the Justin Kinder Show Facebook page. Someone had asked – let me see. I'm sorry I lost this. Mike Haywood on Facebook, he said, why did Saban get to be on and not other coaches? To be clear, I think a lot of this is from different people I've talked to. Nick Saban in Alabama requested.
Yeah.
They requested. Ryan Day could have done the same thing. Now, to be fair, Ryan Day was all over Game Day,
right?
With Pat McAfee and the Game Day crew earlier in the day. So Ryan Day got his FaceTime as well, but Saban was on Game Day. Saban was on CBS Sports. Saban was on Fox Sports last night with that. But when different people I've asked, I texted Jason Fitz last night. I said, hey, quick question. How does the network set those up? And he goes, no, the teams do. He goes, so don't get mad at the networks. Because, by the way, Fox Sports, that's a Big Ten thing. So it's not, they weren't doing anything wrong by having Nick Saban on there. If I'm Fox Sports or ESPN and Nick Saban's contacting me to come on our show, we're going to let him on the show, right?
Right, absolutely.
So I don't blame him.
The ADs set that up with the networks for, hey, Coach Saban wants to come on and talk about his team. And obviously it being Alabama and Nick Saban, you're going to say, yeah, because guess what? Alabama and Nick Saban move the needle. They're going to have that interview plastered across every social media platform, going to get a ton of reaction, a ton of discussion, just like we're doing right now. But guess what? If it was the coach at, I don't know, Backyard State that was 5-5 saying, hey, man, we're trying to get into the Duke Mayo Bowl. Let me come on and talk about it at halftime. The producers of whatever show are going to be like, we're good.
We're good.
So this is just the whole thing that controls the whole narrative of college football, and that's what makes college football separate from the NFL. And college football is more a la politics, where in the NFL, hey, man, you can have your power rankings. You had a Kev Nash power rankings. You had a KP power rankings, Kenner's power rankings. Guess what? We're going to have it on the field, and that's why the NFL, in my opinion, will always be number one, because you always handle things on the actual playing field instead of back and forth chitter chatter.
All right, folks, live here at Frickers in Miamisburg, Sunday morning tailgate show. Selection Sunday it is, and we're going to find out which 4 teams are in the college football playoffs. I'm 99.9% sure Ohio State's in. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm intrigued by, and we only have 60 seconds, Kev, is the committee going to put Ohio State at 3? My big thing is, I said this earlier, someone said, well, it's rigged if they put Ohio State at 3. At this point, does it matter? What do we say all year? Just get in. Just be one of the top 4 teams and you're fine. That's what our listeners say all year round. Now, the haters of Ohio State are now saying, well, it's rigged if they put them at 3. Possibly, but at the same time, don't we all just say, hey, if you're one of the top 4, you're fine? Look, TCU, with all due respect, they're losing to Michigan or they're losing to Georgia. They're losing either way, most likely in this semifinal matchup. Super. Why not get the ultimate matchup of Ohio State-Michigan to set up the ultimate championship, which is most likely going to be Georgia-Ohio State or Georgia-Michigan? I think it makes sense to put Ohio State at 3 for a lot of unprofessional reasons. And there's no talking point. No, I'm eating it. I'm acknowledging it. I acknowledge, that everyone that complains about the SEC bias, I always acknowledge the fact that there's Buckeye bias as well, and it's real. And the rating that Fox had with the most watched college football game ever, I believe that's why Ohio State's at 3. No other rhyme or reason to it. I think Ohio State's at 3. Could be wrong, but we'll see what happens.
For me personally, I hope that they go by what they say. They're going to look at the resume and judge it off the resume, as opposed to, trying to create ratings or trying to create anything. That keeps everything pure. That keeps everything about what actually happens on the field. And they want to screen what happens on the field, then keep it about all the things that happen, and wins and losses, and the wins over top 25 opponents. So I want Ohio State to be number 3 so they can play that team up north again. But I think quote unquote fairness wise, I think they should be at number 4.
All right. And also, to be fair, I don't want Ohio State at 4 because I don't feel good about their chances against Georgia if I'm just going to be 1,000,000% honest. Georgia is like, and this is.
I don't fan scared. Let's get it popping.
By the way, Michigan, you'll take this as a slight, and that's fine if you do, but Georgia or Michigan is a poor man's Georgia. That's not a shot at Michigan. That's actually a compliment. They're just, I think they're a less explosive Georgia, but they're both the exact same. They run game. All the physicality. So, yeah, you wanted it, you got it. Man, he's really mad at me, by the way. He didn't come out today. He's been out almost every week. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Top of the hour. The college football playoff rankings will be coming out here within the next 10, 15 minutes. We're going to be live here on the air. We're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, the Justin Kinder Show Facebook page. Or come on out to Frickers, hang out with us. We're in the back corner. We'll have our rankings reaction live with you all together. How about that? We'll be right back. More of the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show next.
I'm so stressed about my business not being ready for the holidays.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Where do holiday happenings take over every aisle? Lowe's, actually. Experience the magic of Winterfest at Lowe's and save on gifts like a Craftsman 243-piece mechanics tool set valued at over $600 if purchased separately, now for only $99. Give the gift of tech this season with a Ring Video doorbell at an everyday low price of $99.99. Explore the festivities of Winterfest at Lowe's, home to any possibility. Offer valid through 12/7 while supplies last.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. But then what? Well, radio has been called theater of the mind, so let's tell a story with sound effects. Wow, it's like I was in the story. Almost makes me forget this was supposed to be about saving big with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Missed Black Friday? Dell's Cyber Monday event starts now with deals on powerful tech to power every passion. The savings start now with up to $500 off on select sleek XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget, special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Just call 877-ASK-DELL for Cyber Monday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner environment. What do you say, Greg?
Hey Culligan, are you saying if I have a Culligan high-efficiency water softener, I'm also helping the environment?
It sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high-efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and harsh chemicals, and that's good for the planet.
Now you're saying it.
You bet I am, Greg. Soft water and a cleaner environment is already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Jane doesn't mind an apartment with no elevator.
5 flights of stairs is 5 plates of cardio.
Bob is a little less enthusiastic about stairs.
I hate stairs.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle renters and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Jane and Bob found an apartment that's a 4-story walk-up. And Bob?
Yeah, there's a freight elevator she doesn't know about.
What were you talking about?
Oh, nothing.
Bundling without compromise at Geico.com.
At the United States Postal Service, we're here to deliver fast and reliable service to help you get holiday ready. We offer free package pickup and deliver free shipping supplies to your address. So whether you're in Garland, Texas, Rudolph, Wisconsin, or anywhere in between, we're making it easier for you to spread festive cheer this holiday season. USPS, delivering for America. For all your holiday needs, including info about free shipping supplies, free package pickup availability, and restrictions, go to USPS.com/holidays.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Sunday morning tailgate show. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, and excited to be hanging out with each and every one of you here this morning. Keith Byers. Keith Byers usually the one out here hanging out with us, but he's in Philadelphia at the. He's an honorary captain today for the Eagles in their matchup against the Titans. So keep that in mind. But we are just moments away, Kev, from finding out who the 4 teams are going to be in the college football playoff. I beyond appreciate, by the way, ESPN's Heather Dinich. That woman is just literally being pulled in 85 different directions. So the fact that she took time for us today is pretty cool. But we're just moments away from finding out, Kev. Real quick, just your quick prediction. We've talked about who we think should be at 3, who thinks should be at 4. A scale of 1 to 10, Alabama's chances are what, by the way?
0.
0 as well. I'm going to go -1, just to one-up you, because that's what I do, right? I think, by the way, Alabama has just been basically used as a ratings pawn this whole time. This idea that a 2-loss Alabama team was going to get in, we're good, thank you. This idea that a 2-loss Alabama team, regardless of how competitive they were in those losses, I mean, my counter to every one of these arguments is, well, our 2 losses are the 2 best teams we played. Well, then you've already proven you can't beat the 2 best teams. So that, there you go. But Alabama, thank you for playing along. You've been a part of this to help draw interest and get people angry and forcing Kevin and I to say there's 0% chance Alabama's in. The only reason we're saying that is because it's been put out there by these networks, and understandably so, because Alabama drives ratings. And if there's, whether it's because there's people that are fans of them or hate them, they're used as a pawn. They're not getting in. You're 1 through 4, who?
It is Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Buckeyes. And let's be clear, man, there is no other teams to put in there. And I've been saying it all week long on the show. Look, man, yeah, we can hem and haw about Ohio State backdooring their way in there. But if you look at the resume and then you look at the quote-unquote eligible teams, there's nobody else to put in that other 4 spot. There's just nobody else besides Ohio State. There's nothing out there that other teams behind Ohio State can say, like, oh, we're better than based off their resume. And that's why it was so important for last week, Ohio State to be at number 5. If Ohio State and Alabama aren't playing, what are they going to do to make Alabama better than Ohio State if they don't play anybody? So USC lost. They were at 4. Ohio State jumps to 4. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so my 4, again, there's only 4 teams making it. But I mean, like, there's only 4 teams that are realistically going to make it, is my point. So, like, it's the 4 teams you just talked about. Alabama's there to put a scare into. By the way, you people that believe in the SEC bias, why is Alabama still being brought up? Because of you. Because of you people that keep believing in this SEC bias. That's not a thing. It's just the reality of the fact that it's the best conference out there. But Kev, to your point, the brand bias, that's why they get the benefit of the doubt. But guess what? It's the same benefit of the doubt that Ohio State's getting. So if you're going to yell at Alabama, you got to yell about your own Buckeyes, which we all know we're not going to do. I have Georgia 1, Michigan 2. I think Ohio State's going to be 3, Kev. I think I have a hard time believing that a team loses. I know it's a conference championship game, but you lost. A loss is a loss. I don't know how you keep a team. I don't know. You lose and it just doesn't matter. It mattered for USC.
I think it only mattered. It doesn't matter because there's nowhere for them to drop.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah, where are you going to go? Like, you can't drop them because if you look at okay, TCU and Ohio State, you look at their losses. Ohio State's loss is obviously worse. They got blew out in the second half at home. TCU lost in overtime in their conference championship game. There's nowhere to drop them. Like, are you going to really put Ohio State over them based off of those? And then you look at their strength of schedule and you look at the wins they have over top 25 ranked teams off the CFP. They're 4-1, while Ohio State is 2-1. So it's just for me, it's just that simple. And Kansas State is going to be higher ranked than Penn State. So they have a higher win. So I just think that realistically, Kansas State is going to be at 3. Ohio State's going to be at 4. I hope Ohio State's at 3 so we can play that team up north again. But I try to take off my Buckeye blinders when I look at these type of things.
All right. By the way, we're live on Facebook, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Go check that out. Jump in on the comment section. I've seen a couple people throw there. And John Slayden's. John, hope you're doing well.
Morning.
He said Georgia, that team up north, TCU 3. And Ohio State at 4. Matt Sturgeon, he chimes in on Facebook as well. And for his that he's talking about here, sorry, this is coming in slow. But the he believed that the powers to be will ensure that the Ohio State and Michigan matchup happens in round one. Just his 2 cents. I don't think he's wrong. Look, we say it all the time. It doesn't matter if you're 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just get in. And
especially at this point, especially when you have an embarrassing loss at home against your number one rival. Like at this point, it don't matter if you're 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, well, it doesn't matter if you're 4, 3, 2, or 1. As long as you're in there with an opportunity to try to go win this thing, that's the only thing that truly matters at this point.
Ron.
Hello, Ronald.
He says Georgia against Ohio State. So in essence, I'm assuming he's saying the 1 versus 4 right there. So earlier when I said at this point, it doesn't matter if you're 1, 2, 3, or 4. The reason I say that is because I think that's real. And the committee may say, well, it doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. You could, I think if you have a chance, the committee is justified in putting Ohio State at 3. There's enough bullet points there to justify it. There's enough bullet points to justify keeping TCU at 3. So if there's enough bullet points at this point, and it's so close, you might as well at least ensure the 2. It's still a business at the end of the day, and there's no funny business. What are you screwing TCU out of? Are they going to hang a banner for we were number 3, and we don't hang banners if we're number 4? 3 versus 4, it doesn't matter. So with that in mind, I think the committee puts Ohio State at 3 to ensure the ultimate matchups. You're going to get Michigan, Ohio State, 2 versus 3. The winner goes on to play Georgia in the national championship. That'll get another major ratings hit right there. I see them making that move, but they're justified putting Ohio State at 4. Let's just be clear. They didn't lose by Michigan to 3. It's a different conversation at this point. But to Heather Dinich's point, who came on the show earlier, she brought up a good point, basically saying it's not, the final score, Michigan dominated the second half, but at halftime, nobody had any idea who was going to come away victorious there. That makes us Buckeye fans feel better. I know what Heather's doing. I know what Heather Dinich is doing. At the same time, you got blew out Ohio State, so you're lucky. You that unwritten rule of you can't get blown out and make the playoff. They're going to put an end to that theory as well.
Yeah, Notre Dame did that when they lost to Clemson in the COVID season. And like I said, at this point, man, I obviously I want to play Michigan, but I just want to get in it and have an opportunity to do this again. The only team that really has a say-so in this is the number 1 ranked team because they get to choose where they have their semifinal game. So Georgia's going to be number 1. Obviously, they're going to play their semifinal in the Peach Bowl in their home state of Georgia. They're not going to say, hey, let's go all the way out to Arizona and play. No, they're going to pack up the Peach Bowl with their fan base and have that home crowd advantage on their side. So be it Ohio State that they play, be it TCU that they play, they're definitely going to be playing in Georgia, and then that second semifinal 2 and 3 are going to be played in Arizona. So, for Ohio State's standpoint, being number 3 with that big fan base out there in Arizona with the Buckeyes, you really want to be number 3, And for myself, selfishly enough, I got a buddy that stays out there, so I'll be going to that game if things break our way.
So, and I love how we're both, by the way, just giving our opinions on who we think is going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Their opinions. So Clarence Rowley says, Georgia versus Ohio State. Kev is right. Well, okay. So you agree with Kev. I'm not saying Kev's wrong, but I'm not right or wrong. Kev's not right or wrong. We're giving
about 15 minutes.
We're predicting. We're predicting, Mr. Clarence Rowley. So just calm your man parts. Just sit down and cool it over there.
What's up, Clarence?
You can't agree with Kev. You got to agree with me. Those are the rules. Dennis Snyder, he chimes in on Facebook. And, of course, this is being slow, so my apologies. On Facebook, Dennis Snyder says, you're so right about Saban and him selling his team to the committee last night. He should have added his Affleck pitch. Probably. Like I said, he took a shot at Ohio State. He said, when you when you lose matters. And there's teams that have lost and got blown out by their rivals. He took digs at Ohio State. Now, for those saying that I should be upset at that, I respect it. I respect this Ryan Day nice guy routine. I don't need it. I'm not saying I need I'm not saying Ryan Day didn't effort. He was on game day yesterday, but I'm not going to blame Nick Saban. People are mad at Nick Saban. I'm like, you can't be mad at Nick Saban. He's doing what we wish our coach would do. And Urban Meyer was not very good at this either. I remember back when KB, it was a couple selection Sunday shows ago where KB was furious because Urban Meyer was nowhere to be seen on any of these shows. It was, what year did they pick Bama over Ohio State? It might have been that 16 season. 16 or 17, whatever year they lost to Purdue.
Mhm.
Urban Meyer was nowhere to be seen defending the team getting into the play. Of course, he had other things going on that season too, so that's why. But I got to give Nick Saban credit. He's out there campaigning for his team. It's good for recruiting. It's also good for the locker room. Like, hey, maybe we should play this bowl game coming
Right.
up. I mean, our coach has had our back this whole way. He didn't quit on the season, so who knows what happens.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Very good point about the recruiting part, because everything always comes back to recruiting. Everything comes back from his Aflac commercials, from his appearances all across all parts of media and social media. It always comes back to recruiting, because he can always say, I'm gonna be there for you. I'm out here hitting the hardwood for our guys and for our program at all times. It doesn't matter what teams are playing. It's all about Bama, Roll Tide, left and right. As far as Coach Day being out there, he was out there earlier, and one could argue and say, I don't need to be out there campaigning because we're in because USC lost. Like, I did my campaigning by the guy to the Utes handling our business for us.
So how about Nick Saban? His other point, Kev, was that, and I love this one, because he's speaking to the simplest of college football fans out there when he says this. Well, put Bama against Ohio State, TCU, Michigan, Georgia. Who's favored? He dropped that. And I'm like, I just started slow clapping for him. I'm like, good for you, dude. I wasn't angry. In fact, the more he went, the more I was just a big fan. I'm like, good for you, man.
You love the trolls, man.
I don't even think he's trolling. I think he's just doing his job.
Yeah, he's doing his job, but he was also favored against Tennessee, and they lost. So I don't know what Vegas has anything to do with this. You know, there's plenty of teams that are favored and lose. I mean, USC was favored on Friday night. They lost to Utah. So it is what it is. You can talk about that, because if we want to just simply look at Las Vegas, then we shouldn't even play the games.
So point differentials for all the losses for Ohio State, Alabama, and TCU. TCU is -3 in their point margin in their losses. Ohio State's -22 and Alabama's -4. Now, there is a little substance to what Nick Saban is trying to say. It's the same type of substance that we as Ohio State fans would use. Imagine if, a Penn State, Michigan, top 10 teams. Oh, are we doing this?
Well, we got to get to 25. We got to get to 20. Or are they going to go early? They're going to go early.
The day that they finally admit that 25 through 7 really don't matter. And even this 5 and 6 don't matter either. Can we just admit that?
And you're the reason why the term meaningless bowl game was created.
No, they are the reason. Because there's a whole show built around only 4 teams matter, and the rest, there he is right there. There's the Tiger Woods picture in the background of him and his grandkids. But anyway, so if Ohio State lost to Penn State and Michigan this year, they were a 2-loss team. And they lost to Penn State by a field goal, and they lost to Michigan by a field goal. You don't think we as Buckeye fans would be pounding the pavement, pounding the table, saying, hey, look, we only lost by 2 one-possession games against 2 top 10 teams, and there's a number 4 spot open. We should get that 4 spot. That's why I don't blame Alabama one bit. Do what you got to do. I don't think they should be in. I don't think they're going to be in. I just don't have a problem with him doing what we would be doing as Buckeye fans.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, because when there is a chance, there is a chance, because we talk about brand biases, or at least I do on the show all the time. And if I'm TCU, even though all the metrics are in your favor, I'll be nervous right now still if I was a TCU fan.
What if they don't make it? What if it does come out?
I think you lose a lot of credibility if you do it like that, man. Like, it's just, if all your metrics say that TCU is a top 4 team, and then, no, they're not, out of nowhere, is like, yeah, Alabama and Ohio State are in there. Like, it basically says, yeah, everything that really matters is your brand as opposed to what you accomplish on the field. So,
well, no one really values my opinion, but if we are going to talk about the 4 best teams, the 4 best teams are Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. Those are the 4 best teams. And Hendon Hooker with Tennessee, honestly, that's Ohio State. They're the same damn team. They're the same. Hendon Hooker's Tennessee and Ohio State's Buckeyes. They're the same team. I've been saying it all season. You give them a little resistance, and they fold offensively. That's what happened in Tennessee versus Georgia, and it's what happened with Ohio State against Michigan. I think they're the same team, but Tennessee, I think it's cute that they're still putting the graphics up there, like but nonetheless. Hold on, we have someone that agrees with Kenner, so I have to make sure that we give him some love. Jeff McPherson on Facebook. He goes, I agree with Justin. Go Michigan, Ohio State, TCU. Michigan and Ohio State is the matchup that we all want to see. It's money. Georgia winning it all, though. There's no
doubt about it.
Who's your favorite to win it all?
Georgia.
Oh, but didn't it?
I mean, I predicted Ohio.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, the seasons play out. The season plays out, and Georgia, for me, is the best
Do you
team.
need help being picked up?
No.
You
no,
flip and then you
no,
flopped and then
no.
you flipped
I
and
mean,
you flopped.
we all know that I'm be wearing my scarlet and gray once we're up in this thing, and I'm going to be rooting for the Buckeyes. But some of the things that I saw in that SEC championship game, if we're matched up against Georgia, I kind of like some of those things. But their physicality up front is going to be a problem if we play them. And I mean, Michigan's physicality has obviously been a problem for us the last 2 years. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And for the four team, it's always the toughest to win it because you're going up against the number one team and then another powerhouse team in the championship game if you actually make it that far. And to be perfectly honest, I would prefer it this way. I would prefer playing the defending national champion, beating them, then playing that team up north for it all and beating them as well. Like that will be redemption. That would be true redemption for this Ohio State Buckeye team.
All right, we're going to step away for a few moments because they're going to announce it on the other side.
Maybe.
Keep in mind, the reason Ohio State deserves to be at 3, it's not because Ohio State deserves to be at 3. Michigan deserves Ohio State to be at 3, and here's why. They have had a cakewalk of a schedule all season long. They got to play Hawaii and Colorado State and others. I don't think they deserve to have the easiest team in the playoff to be handed to them in TCU. I just think that's wrong. I just think it's wrong. Michigan, they've been taking the easy way out all season. They got Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. Give me a break. We'll be right back. Oh, wait, no. Actually, we'll be back in 2 minutes. The Sunday Morning Tailgate Show, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, live here at Frickers in Miamisburg. Come on out, hang out with us, or again, tune in on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. More from Frickers, the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show. Frickers here in Miamisburg when we come back.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Send me some. Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, live at Frickers here in Miamisburg. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. Already had some family Christmases that have already knocked off, checked off here in the early goings of December. But that's where we're at right now. But nonetheless, they said noon, but we just sit here and wait. We're waiting for the announcement of the college football playoff rankings. Oh, here we go. All right, we're off and rolling, folks. We're about to find out, I believe. Oh, shocker. Georgia coming in at number 1. All right, folks. So right now the top 4 is being announced. Coming in at number 1 is Georgia. No surprise there. Look, Georgia's been dominant all season, defending champions. I think at the end of the day, Kev, it does come down to one of those things where, for Georgia, we talk so much about the dynasty that is Alabama, but Georgia has been quietly building a dynasty of their own as we currently sit here, out of the SEC. I don't think Georgia gets talked about enough. They're not as flashy as Alabama, and even the glimpses like the LSU, the Joe Burrow year, and that type of stuff. So it's just one of those where Georgia's an interesting team. They go on to win it again this year. That's a dynasty just like Alabama right there. Down Michigan coming in at number 2, so the 2 no surprises right there, Kev.
Yeah, the great thing about Georgia is they try to keep on replacing Stetson Bennett with this 5-star quarterback, that 5-star quarterback, and he keeps winning the job and keeps winning football games. 4-star and 5-star recruit at wide receiver. They got a 3-star, 5'7" receiver leading them in catches and touchdowns. So that speaks to not only the coaching, but the prowess of those two young men to get out there and make it happen on the field.
All right, now we're about to find out. Number 3. Come on, Buckeyes. It's TCU, and it's going to be TCU.
It's going to be TCU.
Come on, man. Like, this is just, great radio right here.
Are they going to
Because I've been thinking about this all week. Ohio State, Michigan in the playoff, man. Like, I've been thinking about it all week. I'm surprised they just start off with 1 and 2, by the way.
Those are the ones that we already know. We knew that Georgia and Michigan were going to be 1 and 2. So it's really, the suspense is really about 3 and 4. So it's time. They need to go ahead and say that Alabama's 5. Go ahead, get them out. So
just kind of
the
play
paint.
with us a little bit. Drop
of
Tennessee at 6.
This is a TV show, right?
That's why I'm saying Ohio State at 3.
Especially the selection show is a TV show.
Oh, have a look. What are we finding out? No, that sucks. This is stupid. I hate the playoff. This is dumb. TCU loses. It's TC freaking you. Give me a break. They've been the charity case all season long. Look at them. Look at them.
How are they the charity
You
case?
get rewarded for losing. You bunch of losers. Congratulations. My goodness. All right, TCU's at 3. All right, the rest doesn't matter. My goodness. But so there it is. So now we got to hold our breath. Is Ohio State in?
Yes.
Like, because they're in, but I can't believe the committee had a shot to give us Ohio State, Michigan in the college football playoff. And
I
they
commend
gave
them.
TCU later. My goodness. Congratulations, Michigan. You started out with Hawaii in Colorado State, and now you get TCU. Unreal.
Hello, brand bias.
Yes.
Sponsored by Justin Kenner.
And look at the recruiting rankings. Look at the roster.
Or look what they did on the field.
Against who?
The committee's top 25 teams.
It's a 3-loss team. 4-loss team.
No, they're not. Who?
3-loss team. They lost to a 3-loss team yesterday.
Yeah, but they were ranked number 10.
That's adorable.
The committee's
adorable.
number 10
It's that
team.
TCU bias, man. I'm telling you. They've been propping them up. I'll use Shaw all his lame excuses. They were propping up TCU. Ohio State, we're waiting to find out where they're going to fall. It's number 4, right, at this point.
Yeah.
But look, we had Heather Dinich on earlier today. There was a lot of talking points as to why you could put Ohio State at 3, but TCU gets that 3 spot. So you're going to have Michigan against TCU. Real quick while we wait for that 4 spot, Kev, but TCU, Michigan, that's actually going to be a really good semifinal matchup. I think that's going to be a much closer. If Michigan struggles with Purdue, they're going to really have a close one with TCU.
Absolutely. TCU is not nothing to mess with. Sonny Dice is a good head coach. Max Duggan, Ohio State, officially up in that thing. Right. Go Bucks, OHIO. But Max Duggan, in my opinion, I think he should win the Heisman Trophy. He could have actually cemented it yesterday if TCU was able to win the Big 12 championship game. This Heisman Trophy is going to be super weird. He's going to be there. Max Duggan, the quarterback from TCU. Blake Corum, the running back from Michigan, who's out for the rest of the regular season, is going to be there. Caleb Williams is going to be there. The quarterback from USC is going to be there. He's not playing in the big-time bowl game right now. So, it's going to be a weird Heisman Trophy ceremony, but this college football playoff, Georgia versus Ohio State, Michigan versus TCU, New Year's Eve, can't wait.
So TCU, Michigan, I joke, but it's going to be a very good playoff game. I don't know what to feel about Ohio State, Georgia, Kev. I think Georgia is a better it's a better Michigan. All the strengths of Michigan, that's Georgia. So I'm really curious what Vegas is going to have as the line in this matchup. Georgia will be favored. It's just by a matter of, what's your guess? As I would say, 4.5 to
probably
7?
Probably, somewhere around. I would say Georgia by 5.
By 5, I think the line anywhere between 4.5 to 7 is my guess as far as what that Vegas line is. And Alabama just coming up short. Roll Tide, just come. Roll Tennessee. Look at that. Look at that SEC.
Oh
bias.
my gosh!
They put Tennessee at 6. It doesn't matter, but
it doesn't matter, but it does matter because Alabama and Tennessee are going to be going to one of the bigger brand bowl games. I don't know. It you know what? At the end of the day, it is what it is. We got what we wanted. I can't be out here complaining about
what we wanted. We did not.
You just said 20 minutes ago. As long as we're in here.
No. I said, wait, did I?
Yes.
I wanted Michigan.
Yeah.
I wanted Ohio State versus Michigan.
maybe you'll get that in the championship
No, we
game.
ain't gonna beat Georgia. Georgia's gonna steamroll Ohio State. That's why I'm ticked off. Am I wrong, Buckeye fans? Where are my Buckeye fans at?
Well, considering how they were acting last week when I wasn't on the show, obviously we shouldn't even be in there. Remember that?
Oh,
we don't
trust
deserve
me,
to be in there.
I'm
glad I was off last week.
No, I'm really intrigued by this Georgia-Ohio State matchup. I don't know if they're going to get steamrolled or not. I do know that Ohio State, they do have an extra whole month now. This is the great thing about this is they have a month now to get healthy. Trevion Henderson, not sure what the future holds for him. Jackson Smith and Jigba, no idea what's going on with that situation. It's been a week to week since week 2, and we're in early December now. But these are two really good playoff matchups. And like I said, that Michigan TCU, it's not the sexiest matchup on paper, but on the field, we see too many we see way too many blowouts in these playoff games. I don't think we're going to see that in these two. I think we're in for a treat with both of these, and it's going to set up one heck of a national championship. I think Michigan comes out on top over TCU. So if you get Michigan versus Georgia in the national championship, or heaven forbid, the ultimate of ultimates, or Ohio State against Michigan in the national championship, look out. I'm jacked about the potential of that.
I'm ready. I'm ready for New Year's Eve. It's going down, man. I mean, we all know that the Georgia-Ohio State game is going to be the late kickoff game. So already know my plans for New Year's Eve night. Going to be watching the Buckeyes.
TCU? You don't want TCU as a headliner? Why not?
I mean, I'm watching it. Hey, Brandon, hit the Buckeye music, please. We're in the college football playoff. Be happy, Kenner. You're just so grumpus, man. You're grumpy all the time.
I wanted Michigan.
We're in the college football playoff, and you're still mad. How can you still be mad?
Because it's not like it's not that I'm mad that we're in the playoff, but I expected to be in the playoff. It's Ohio State. This isn't jumping for joy. We made it. We're not Michigan. We don't get excited when we make the playoff. We
should be excited considering we lost by 22 points to our biggest rival.
That's why I was mad. Everyone has bad weeks. So the bottom line is
22-point bad week?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Look, Michigan struggled with Purdue. They pulled away, but Purdue was giving them fits last night. So I don't want to hear it. There's Rolando, Bengals fan Rolando. We do got some NFL games to talk about. But I tell you what, we're going to open up the phone lines, 518-1410, 518-1410. Our guy Brandon Williams, he's holding it down back in the WING studios. Go ahead and give Brandon Williams a call. Your guys' thoughts. Ohio State, Georgia, college football playoffs, Saturday, December 31st. That's going to be an 8 p.m. kickoff. And then on Monday, the national championships on January 9th. But then also the 4 o'clock game is Michigan against TCU. So now they're dissecting Ohio State versus Alabama's resume because Bama fans are losing their minds, which they shouldn't have. They should have expected this. So, no, I don't feel bad for them. All right, Brandon and company, we're going to step out for a few moments, catch up on some of these paid advertisements. But Kev Nash and I are live here hanging out at Frickers here in Miamisburg. Sunday morning tailgate show with the college football playoff. The Final Four, it's set here on Selection Sunday. TCU against Michigan in the 2 versus 3, and then number 1 Georgia against number 4 Ohio State. The Buckeyes did it. They got into the playoff, and now it's going to be a fun build to December 31st. Jeremy Bubba Carr on Facebook, he chimes in, Georgia is in for an ass whooping. We need to make a statement after being embarrassed at home.
We just need to win.
Just win. Ass whooping or not.
Just need to win.
3 points. Don't care. Just win, baby.
2-0.
Yeah.
We can baseball score this thing. I don't care. Just win.
Kev Nash and I will be back in just a moment.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
All sports. All the time. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
1, 2, 3.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Missed Black Friday? Dell's Cyber Monday event starts now with deals on powerful tech to power every passion. The savings start now with up to $500 off on select sleek XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget, special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Just call 877-ASK-DELL for Cyber Monday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner environment. What do you say, Greg?
Hey, Culligan, Are you saying if I have a Culligan high-efficiency water softener, I'm also helping the environment?
It sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high-efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and harsh chemicals, and that's good for the planet.
Now you're saying it.
You bet I am, Greg. Soft water and a cleaner environment is already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Unlock big savings at Menards during the home improvement sale. Add style and security with Schlag lock sets. Coordinate the look of your home's decor with complementing finishes and styles. Menards carries over 50 styles of interior and exterior lock sets. And with Schlag's wide selection of smart locks and keyless entry locks, there's no more hiding keys under the doormat or losing track of copies. Save big on Schlag lock sets at Menards. Plus, a Menards gift card always makes for a great gift idea.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Did you know that Masterforce has thousands of tools at Menards? Any tool you want, we have. There are hammers, drills, pliers, levels, wrenches, grinders, sanders, air compressors, nailers, workbenches, mowers, blowers, chainsaws, floor jacks, knee pads, work lights, fans. Whew. And that's just a taste. Want power, performance, durability? Come check out the wide range of products from Masterforce, exclusively at Menards.
Kick off the holiday season at Club Oceano Seafood and Bar. Our Scratch Kitchen offers seafood entrees unlike anywhere else. Or if you prefer, a delicate steak cooked to perfection, paired with a handcrafted cocktail or a glass from our extensive wine list. Club Oceano Seafood and Bar at the Green. Perfect for lunch, dinner, or a special occasion. Private room seats up to 50. The best happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. Complimentary valet parking Friday and Saturday evenings. Club Oceano Seafood and Bar at the Green. Make your reservation today.
I'm Tamron Hall. Why give your family just ordinary eggs when they can enjoy the best? Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition compared to ordinary eggs. With 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, 25% less saturated fat, and 38% more lutein. Because the way we care is anything but ordinary. Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
God, I'm so stressed about my business not being ready for the holidays.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Check.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash hanging out with you here live at Frickers here in Miamisburg. Bengals fan Rolando hanging out here as well. And Kev, all of a sudden I'm noticing a little extra confidence. I'm noticing extra confidence in my guy Rolando over here. He's all excited about his Bengals. You know, they finally get it. What, it took 2 months? 2 months? I'm just saying, 2 months. Yeah. So as we get geared up again, the college football playoff, the Final Four is announced. Georgia 1, Ohio State 4, TCU at 3, going up against number 2 Michigan. So just like that, we know. And see, this is what's weird, Kev, the build-up for this.
Mm-hmm.
We wait. The only thing I hate about this is the fact that we do have to wait 4 weeks. Again, same talking points every year when it comes to this. But what I love about Selection Sunday with college basketball is you have Selection Sunday college basketball, and then the tournament tips off 2 days later.
Right.
Technically 3 or 4 by the time you get to the bigger teams, of course, because the first 4 tips off on Tuesday right here in Dayton, of course. I don't know. I feel like college football, these 2 matchups, they fizzle out a bit. Not for us because we're Buckeye fans, but last year when Ohio State wasn't in it, I remember the Final Four was announced. Everyone was buzzing. They were all excited about it. And then we went dormant for 3 months. We didn't hear from them. You going to put an order in? I think I'm going to put an order in.
Go for it.
I'm going to put an order live here on the air. I'm going to get some hot wings and some French fries, please. What are you going to get, Kev? We're live out here at Frickers in Miamisburg. We're ordering live on the air.
Live on the air. Let me get some curly fries and let me get a small order of wings. Yeah, with barbecue sauce.
And you can get your wings and barbecue sauce live here at Frickers. That's where we're at. Come hang out with us. So there you go. But where we ranch? Yes, sorry. Real quick, my ADD is bad today. So last year, Ohio State wasn't in the playoff. The college football playoff Final Four was announced. All excited, all juiced about it, and then a month goes by, and I feel like it's hard to get ramped up for those fan bases who don't have teams in the race. It'll be fine for us this year, but at the same time, I want to see Ohio State right away. I don't like Selection Sunday being on December 4th, and then we're not going to see Ohio State again for another 4 weeks. I mean, Christmas seems like still aren't an arm's length away, and it's well past Christmas even before we get to it. Do you like the fact that it's a month between? Is it necessary?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. And then guess what? In 2 years, we're going to have the expanded college football playoff. And so these games are going to be coming at us fast and furious. So I think then we're going to be like, man, we need a break between some of these games. We got to let some time happen so some of our guys can rest up. So, in 2 years, none of that's going to matter. I don't mind because I'm a big bowl guy anyway. I watch a lot of bowl games. And obviously, I know I'm one of the few that just loves college football regardless. I know a lot of people really only care about their teams. So I know I'm in the minority in that. So I personally don't mind.
So, but, and I mean this nicely, but there's not a lot of you.
Right, exactly.
Out there. So because of that, and no, you're right. Like for you, like you're fine no matter what, because there's enough football between now and then to kind of get you through. But what I think is when you have 4 weeks, you have college football semifinals and championship game within a week of one another. Why not? Today's the 4th. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but so today's Sunday. How about 2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from yesterday, the semifinals? So then you have it right there in the middle of December.
Mm-hmm.
You have the semifinals before Christmas, and then the championship game after Christmas. Like you could at least break it up into the month of December. It's just weird. You wait a month. Semifinals, week off, championship. It's like that's just weird to me.
Yeah, that would be.
Then you sprinkle the bowl games in between.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like college football is still trying to juggle their tradition of having these games with the bowl games, and the bowl games take place on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Like that's like the tradition of college football. But what we're learning is, tradition changes, and it needs to be adjusted, and they'll be adjusting that in the near future with the 12-team playoff. They're not going to be waiting 4 weeks to start the college football playoff. They're going to be starting the college football playoff immediately, so with the home site games and then transitioning to the bowl games, the FCS playoff is going on already. So, it's been proven that you can have a playoff, be at people's home stadiums and transition all around the country. For decades, they've been doing that in the FCS. And now finally, they're doing it in the big college football in the next 2 years. So all we got to do is sit tight, be patient, get through this, win this national championship with the Buckeyes this year, go win another one, and then we do the 12-team playoff.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, live here at Frickers in Miamisburg. We'll have plenty of college football talk all week long. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Excited as we head into the week and the build up to the playoff 4 weeks. But you know what? Who cares? Ohio State, Georgia, New Year's Eve. It's the late game, the 8 o'clock or 8:30 kickoff, and then of course the 4:30 kickoff is going to be that team up north in TCU. All right, so now that I can stop thinking about the idea of them meeting in the semifinals, the opportunity to play in the championship game is there. We saw this last year. You had Georgia. Who was the 4 last year? Georgia and Alabama met in the championship game. Alabama played Cincinnati. Who did Georgia play in the semifinals?
Michigan.
Sorry. I'm just not used to saying Michigan in the playoffs. Sorry. They're new. They're new. But we saw that semifinal setup. It's funny. People say, that's not a good, the rating isn't good for that, for Georgia, Alabama. I'm like, that's Georgia, Alabama. This is Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State, Michigan, as big as these, they call it what do they call the game in 2006, the Battle of the Undefeated? They called it the what?
Oh, did it? Not the game of the decade.
Game of the century or something.
Yeah, something of that ilk, yeah.
If that was the game of the century or whatever, then what is Ohio State, Michigan in the national championship? Because that's never happened. It's never been done. They've never played twice in a season to begin with. And Ohio State has the tougher tasks, don't get me wrong, but it's still a realistic possibility that you can get Ohio State and Michigan in the national championship. And that's where I'm going to be at with this now, is like the opportunity for that. So, the build up to these, Ohio State has to keep their eye on Georgia, and they will.
Yeah.
Semifinal. But this is also a big opportunity for Ryan Day, because after losing to Michigan, people have started questioning, what's his staple win? What is his big win? Clemson, which was Ohio State's first win against Clemson ever, because Clemson was starting to pile up on Ohio State over the years, whether it was Deshaun Watson, whether it was Trevor Lawrence. They finally beat Trevor Lawrence in his final year. Ohio State goes on to the title game, gets just whooped up on by Alabama, of course. But that staple win and that's a good staple win, but people don't seem to give him a lot of credit for that. So outside of that, what else?
Right.
One win against Michigan. That's about it. Now, there's a lot of top 10 wins in there, whether it's Penn State and some of the other Big Ten teams in there. This is a very crucial game. It's not just about getting to the championship. It's about Ryan Day trying to push off some of the doubters because those are starting to pile up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a ton. It's a ton there for every team involved. You look at, obviously, the Buckeyes, and you look at the loss that we had to that team up north. There's no better redemption story for Ohio State to beat the defending national champions, Georgia, in their own backyard in Georgia in the Peach Bowl. If you're able to make that happen, then you might be able to play that team up north for it all. And that would be the biggest draw in college football history. I think that game will break TV sets if that actually happens. So that opportunity is there for Ohio State. And then you look at Georgia, they're looking to go back-to-back. They're looking to go back-to-back champions. Last year they didn't win the SEC. They weren't undefeated for the season, but ultimately they did win the national championship. Now they're looking to go undefeated for the regular season, SEC champions as well, and be the national championship. That cements them. That cements Kirby Smart and says, okay, we're here for our turn. It's going to be our turn to have a dynasty. So you got that storyline. Then you look at first-year coach at TCU, Sonny Dykes. He was at SMU. He was at Cal. He was always one of those great offensive minds, but as a head coach, he's just been mediocre. So now you have a Heisman caliber quarterback, and now you're your first year at TCU to put another newbie on the map. With TCU being there, first time in the college football playoff, you got an opportunity to make some real noise. And then obviously with that team up north, your buddies on the screen right now, Jim Harbaugh, you were in the college football playoff last year. You beat Ohio State last year. You won the Big Ten last year. You repeated that. You're back in the college football playoff. It's time for them to assert themselves and win a natty to say we officially are back. So they haven't won a national championship since 1997. So that's like 25 years. So every team has big storylines. And obviously for us, the number one storyline is the Ohio State Buckeyes and Coach Ryan Day.
Absolutely. My storyline is they just showed Michigan's schedule up there and the results. I'm a little concerned. I have diabetes with all the cupcakes I just had to take in looking up at that schedule. My goodness.
Ooh. Got the sugar.
Ooh, diabetes. All right, folks. It's the not the Justin Kinder Show with Kevin Nash. It's the Sunday morning tailgate show live here at Frickers in Miamisburg. Let's switch gears to the NFL. A lot of big headlines in the NFL. And the other reason I'm switching gears to the NFL is I need to hit this commercial break. I forgot to set my fantasy team lineup today, and I'm starting to freak out. I don't know what moves I got to make. So I tell you what, the Bengals-Chiefs, biggest game of the weekend right there. Arguably one of the bigger storylines of the weekend is the debut of Deshaun Watson, the controversial debut of Deshaun Watson for the Cleveland Browns. All the noise aside, it doesn't change the fact that the Browns may have finally got that elite quarterback that they have been spending decades trying to find. It's not going to be the result of today. I don't care if he plays really, really well today or really, really poorly today. Him playing poorly today does not mean he's a poor quarterback. Him playing great today does not mean he's great moving forward. But it is the first opportunity for Browns fans to get to see him out there for 4 full quarters as the Browns and Texans go head-to-head. And then, of course, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, there's people who are starting to pay attention. They're starting to notice what's happening. They're starting to heat up. Can that all fizzle out, though, pretty quickly if they lose to the Chiefs today? Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Bengals, Chiefs. That's the big one coming up later today as well. Kev Nash, Justin Kinner. We'll be back live from Frickers in Miamisburg in 5 minutes.
This holiday season, switch to Boost Mobile and get a single line unlimited plan for $25 a month and
a partridge in a pear tree
coverage on America's largest 5G networks.
How about 7 swans of swimming?
No, but if you're not satisfied within the first 30 days, Boost gives you your money back.
Turtle doves, French hens,
the lowest truly unlimited plan on the market. One line for $25 a month when you switch.
I'll take it.
Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer. New customers only. One line for $25 per month with autopay. Device must be returned in like new condition. Monthly service refunded via e-gift card. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Where can you smell fresh pine from the curbside pickup line? Lowe's, actually. Explore the holiday fun and check off every gift on your list during Winterfest at Lowe's, where you can save $100 on a Blackstone 30-inch flat-top grill, now $299. Or your choice of a DeWalt 20-volt Max brushless drill kit or Impact driver kit for just $99. Experience all of the festivities of Winterfest now, only at Lowe's, home to any possibility. Offer valid through 12/21 while supplies last.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON info.com.
The law offices of Blake Maceland will fight for you. Call 444-4444. Want more fight? More attention? More compensation? We've recovered millions in auto and injury cases. We don't know what your case is worth until you call. What more? Call 444-444-444-444. Call Blake Maceland.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
Menards has what you need to keep your home safe. For more than 100 years, Kidde has been a leader in home safety, helping you protect what matters most. From smoke and carbon monoxide alarms to fire extinguishers and more, Kidde Home Safety Products keep your family protected in case of emergencies. Save big on Kidde Home Safety Products now at Menards. Plus, a Menards gift card always makes for a great gift idea.
Boy, season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc.